Hey guys, welcome back to Trekyards. He's Commander Cocking.
Here's Captain Foley, and our mission today is to talk to you about Star Trek, about Star Trek Picard, and about many of the small unanswered questions in the show that the season is finished, and we are almost end of our coverage, but we have a few last minute thoughts to talk about. Stuart, what are we talking about today, and why?
Today's kind of probably one of the biggest mysteries that was ramped up like excessively and then just fizzled away. And that was basically what was Daj and Sojis' missions, separately or combined, that Maddox sent them on. Because he makes a point of saying that he sent Soji to the cube, he sent Daj to Earth, both on separate missions, both to find out about the synth attack on Mars.
What's the connection? Why the ban?
Yeah, does he know that the Romulans were involved? I assume that's why he sent her to the cube. What was she doing to solve this mystery? I know she had a lot of information in her nugget, which she didn't really know why she had. So I guess subconsciously she was going through files and just learning stuff. Then Daj is on Earth, and she's got accepted to the Daystrom Institute. We never get a sense of what her mission was. I mean, Soji's makes a little more sense. Romulans, some connection there.
If we go back to Maddox for a second, so he was working on synths, and he presumably with Sung, because Jurati knew Sung, so I'd assume they'd worked together at that point. They built the data-looking androids, and they became widespread in the Federation to help build things over Planitia. Great, they're making synthetics based on Data's neurons. Brilliant. And he's presumably working on organic synths, but hasn't cracked it yet. He thinks the secret might be neuronic cloning. Touchy makes on that's more like Data, more with the brain capacity, because these other synths don't. They are much more simple. They have the body of Data, but not the mind. They haven't got that soul that Sun created, right? Then they go homicidal, destroy the whole thing, everything goes wonky. The bang comes in, Maddox and Sung decide to leave because they want to continue their work. It's too important to stop, so they leave. They leave Jurati for some reason, and they go to this planet with some Data's neurons via Lord's brain, which has since been deactivated and broken and whatever, and they spend next 14 years designing, building, creating synths, organic synths, to push that forward. Within that time they create several generations, and I think Chabon said, well, it's not canon because it wasn't in the episode, but he said that because of the variation in synths, you see they then design their own synths, the synths design synth, at a certain point it becomes like a mini species. And so at some point 3 years ago, two brand new organic synths are created based on, again, the original Data's neural network, which means they have some of his memories and such, sort of, called them Daj and Soji, and they both look the same, but they both look for the human version because they're easier, but they're both based on the original Data painting, which is, I guess, a way of telling Picard, if as a backup plan, that hey, this person's important, like some of his original, Jana and Sutra, so those two, and they go out and they essentially these two places with completely false memories, completely false things, but fully integrated backstories so they can work and live. And for 3 years, one lady is a psychiatrist on the Borg cube, presumably having to work up to get there, and then one is a student and gets accepted to the Daystrom Institute. And that's as far as they got.
Makes no sense. Soji's makes more sense. I mean, I assume she didn't have to work up to the position she was in. She would have had fake credentials and stuff going into it, complete with her whole past history of memories.
Well, I mean, she probably wasn't made and then two weeks later she was on the Borg cube, because they probably had to do vetting, and especially with the other lady who got sent back. I'm assuming she wasn't on the Borg cube for 3 full years, maybe 2. You know what I mean? It couldn't be that easy for Maddox to get on a Borg cube. Otherwise, that's really easy. Whereas Soji, it was easier. Or Daj, Daj is the dead one. But then what was she doing for 3 years? Getting a boyfriend, living a life. She didn't even get into Daystrom yet. She was in the academy or something similar.
No indication of anything that she had done or accomplished in her mission that we saw, and that's what raises this question, really. Yeah, like I said, I can kind of understand Soji's thing. Apparently, Daj was programmed a little bit differently than Soji too. I've seen some people talking about this. That Daj, since she was on Earth and could possibly run into trouble, she was programmed with the memories of Picard, and so if she needed help, she would know to seek out Picard.
As opposed to on a Borg cube with Romulans. Oh yeah, she's not going to face trouble on an enemy vessel.
Yeah, but that's why Soji didn't know who Picard was, because...
Well, I assume it was because she was pre-triggered in a different way. It was a different Like, they were both triggered. Yeah, but you're right. There was never a sense of, I know you.
No, never at all. Even after meeting him and learning who he was, she still didn't trust him, where the other one trusted him implicitly before even meeting him, because she's like, I needed to come here because I know I could trust you.
But that feels like a script disconnect, where they wrote the first bit and they wrote the second bit, and they didn't quite connect them properly. Because they're meant to be the same. They're sisters, they're clones, they're, and they obviously diverge within those 3 years, but programming should be the same, you would assume. Or at least close enough. So, I like how I brought up how Soji knew things. My assumption when watching the season up until the end was that she was given lots of information like Data was, and she could access it without realising. That's how she knew how to speak Romulan, and that's how she knew about the, like Maddox, whatever, hacked into records. But are you supposing that actually she was hacking into information throughout her time there, learning stuff, putting it in her memory banks to then take back, and able to access it when she needed it, but not consciously?
Yeah, that's, I think, exactly what was happening. And then those calls with her mother, which put her to sleep after 70 seconds or whatever, it could have been the trigger for transmitting the data to Maddox or whoever to keep tabs on things.
Well, because the question is, how long is this plan meant to be?
Exactly.
I mean, 3 years with 0 results is a long time already. I mean, yes, they're building their own synth people, that's fine. But what is it, a 25-year plan to work out? I mean, especially since only a week ago. I'm sure Sung knew he was dying more than a week ago. I'm sure Maddox knew he was dying because he was only at his lab a couple of weeks ago. They would still be in contact. So are they both assuming they're going to go into golems in the next month and then just live forever and wait for them to work out what happened to the ban? I mean, there was no sense of momentum here. And what, they're trying to undo the ban? Are they trying to... Or do they want Soji to become the head of Daystrom so that they can get close to the head of Starfleet so they can get the secrets? And that'll take 15, 20, 30 years. 50 years, I mean...
Well, first of all, I don't think there was more than one golem. I think it was just for Soong, not that Maddox didn't have one.
I just mean in the long run.
Although that being said, Maddox did say that the Romulans destroyed his facility with molecular solvent, and we never saw that facility. So there was a separate facility besides the one on the planet. For her being accepted to Daystrom didn't make sense.
Oh, and not knowing who Data was, remember? She had no knowledge of who Data Android was.
The highest in her field, smartest in her field kind of thing. Yeah, it would have made more sense if she was transferring to Daystrom Institute from another... She has fake credentials. Her getting accepted to Daystrom because of her grades, she'd be starting at the bottom. So if she was transferring more high level, I could see some... way to initiate an investigation that way.
Well, can I picture something that would have been a better, cleverer opening, right? Rather than getting murdered, attacked in her quarters, what if we'd actually cut to Jurati at Daystrom working with Daj, and then when Picard comes in, doesn't even show her a picture of her, but oh no, we saw her earlier. She was working at Daystrom the entire time, right next to, Jurati, and never told, because it had to be a secret because they might reveal things, whatever. But yeah, to just be transferred off that many years, it's like, well, and even if she's trying to information gather, I mean, I guess you could argue she's trying to get close to the boyfriend and his information they're going to be transferred back.
He seemed like an idiot, though.
Well,
she didn't even know her full job title or whatever.
Well, but she didn't know about Data, and she was So there's a big disconnect there with those. Now, I guess maybe you could argue that because she lived a life, her program went a bit haywire, and she was actually being more human than she was meant to be. She fell in love. Whatever, and so her program made her less compliant to want to do the mission. And so as the longer she was there, the less on course she was. Whereas Soji, she was always in the mission, but that's a hell of a stretch. There's no evidence for that at all.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. The pieces weren't connected well enough for us to understand the picture of what was being attempted by Maddox in sending them on these missions.
And what would you even learn from the Borg cube? Because if he doesn't imply the Romulans are behind the ban, he says the Tal Shiar destroyed his lab, but that could just be for many reasons. He doesn't say, there's no link there at all. So even if you thought they were behind it, why would the Borg cube have the secrets? It's a project. We didn't, because if there was a dark secret of the Borg cube that was a Roman facility, fine, but it wasn't. It was just reclamation. There was no other ground secret that we ever got.
It ties into the other question we had. What are they doing with the Borg parts? If there was some kind of secret synth um, plan that they had using Borg tech, he got wind of it. I could see him tying that together with trying to stop the humans from making synths. So there is that kind of underlying conspiracy theory there, and we still don't know what they were doing with the Borg parts.
Or just selling them, using the tech, deconstructing
But who's
them.
buying them and for what? I understand that you can. I mean, the Doctor did get excited in Voyager, but he's like, "It's got this tool and this tool and this tool all in one." But
Yeah.
I mean,
how else do you get Trillium D or refined to the nth degree? Only Borg can do that. Oh look, it's pre-made. Here you go. Use it for something else. I assume it's just to deconstruct it and take the components because they're already pre-made and pre-put together. But I'm trying to work it out. And if it was like a 10-year plan, fine. But are they really that patient? And like, you never got the sense of this, that Maddox knew about a conspiracy, so he had no lead. Like if the governor on the Borg cube had been O, like if she was the representative for the Federation to that place, then maybe it was to meet O and such, if he guessed she was there. But there was never any connection. I don't even think the scriptwriters thought this through. Like, there's no connective tissue even to try and grasp on. It's as if they...
Well...
Oh, it's very confusing.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing would have been if Daj was actually a member of Starfleet, maybe, not super high ranking, but on the council or something, and then have her be there for a few years. That's the plan, and then have it come out that I'm a synth organic, and you've been working with me this long. What is your problem with synths? That kind of thing. That would have made a lot more sense.
Yeah, how cool would it have been to see she was O's assistant? Her personal attaché.
Or Admiral Clancy's would have been better.
Or either one.
Close to the CNC, head of Starfleet. So that Starfleet has to admit that, your years of service, you've been stellar. So the synth ban really doesn't make any sense because we understand that you're not all evil.
Or not even that. Just like if we suppose the Borg cube, the information that she was gathering was, she was hacking in without realizing, taking information without realizing, had it without realizing. The transport knowledge wasn't. Maddox didn't have that. It was the Borg that she got. Then if she's in the Admiral's office every other day, then she can slowly hack through the files and rather than rushingly be caught, she can look small amounts of files at a time and find the secrets. So same thing. She's on the Borg cube to use the Borg archive, and she's on the Earth central location to get that information. Well, there you go. But there's no, and you'd assume that Maddox would still have access to. You'd assume that Maddox, being this amazing person at Daystrom, would still have put like a back door to Daystrom Institute servers to be able to get in, even from over there. Like, the information isn't at Daystrom.
It would have made a ton more sense. And I don't want to introduce another theory this late into the conversation because we should probably wrap it up. But to have, Daj be working with Commodore O, because it's suspected that Commodore O is maybe part Romulan, had something to do with it, because Raffi was on to the fact that the Romulans were probably involved. So there's that kind of thing. So she's looking for evidence in Commodore O's office, whatever. Soji was sent to the cube because she knows that Narek is there, and Narek is related to somebody that's infiltrated Starfleet, but we don't know who. It's Lieutenant Rizzo, which we know in the first episode that she's introduced, and then later she's just Romulan for the whole thing. So there's kind of a connection there where she's going after Narek to get information because she knows he's related to somebody in Starfleet, and they find out that Rizzo's working with Commodore O. It turns out that Rizzo is actually his sister, but a Romulan. I mean, that would make more sense. There's at least some connective tissue there. So
that's really interesting because then you'd actually flip the script that it was actually that Jat Vash chap, because it makes sense to be you have one Jat Vash on the Borg cube because they're somewhat synthetic life forms. I mean, just as a vague sense of what if they get uprising, or you can learn to kill them better if you're on the Borg cube. So she's there to find Narek. So flip that script rather than him arriving and within 2 weeks they're in a relationship. Flip that script. He was already there. She arrives, and then he's alerted that she's a synth pretty early on, and then he approaches her, but she's already been there to approach him, and that's why she falls so easily. And that's why there's no real believability in their relationship, because they're both faking it. They're both making she's flicking her hair and he's really looking hot, both on purpose to try and fully do this thing. That would be kind of fun. And if you wanted to say, then you've already got the sister in Starfleet uniform, you could have Daj after her even. maybe not even knowing maybe he just has this evidence of two people that he thinks are whatever. Maybe again, we're really adding on here. But can you imagine like the first couple of scenes, or we said a flashback. Why isn't there a flashback with Soji and Daj and Maddox? Wouldn't it be great if there's a flashback? It's episode 6, which has him saying, thanks to Vajazel, I've been told there's a secret Romulan thing that I think has something to do with this, and I've spent all of our money. Like, I've sold her the rights to this amazing technology, which is why she killed. Which is why she has the. That's why she paid for his facility, because he's giving her a useful. So that's why he came out of hiding, to try and earn money to get the secret that these two people, her spy network says, which would make sense because they're both linked to Borg tech selling. She gets Borg stuff from the Borg cube on the black market, which means she's learned that who Narek is, and she thinks he's Jatvash, and so actually it's Bajazel that helps Maddox put them in place, and that's why he's, come back. So they've just connected it all, and it makes Bajazel much more important. And now you have Daj with one Jatvash, and then when she learns he's there, again, you have both this nice cat and mouse, and if you wanted to even take it one step further, you could have Daj play the lesbian, and Soji play the straight woman, and you could have both brother and sister going after both versions of Daj and Soji, in very similar plots, if you don't want to kill her in the first episode. And that'd be kind of fun to see, like, how that dynamic would work.
Well, it makes sense for Narek to check in with his sister, Lieutenant Rizzo, and talk about Soji and how, he suspects she's a synthetic, get a picture of her, and she's like, oh my god, there's somebody like that serving under Commodore O, and that's why she goes from Starfleet to the Borg cube.
After she gets killed. Yeah.
Protect her brother or whatever. Yeah, like, there's so many possibilities there. Damn. Anyway, we're gonna call that. Put your conspiracy theories down below. What do you think about our ideas? Yes. How would you expand on them? What are your own ideas? What was the plan? Was there a plan? I don't think there was a plan, but put it down below.
Doesn't feel like there was a good plan.
No, but we have a plan for you guys, and that's, you're gonna hit that like button right now and hit subscribe. Make sure you click the notification icon to all. That's very helpful as well. And make sure you come and visit us for lives and stuff and other great ways to help us out. You can join the channel. There's a join button right there. Click it. And you can rank of commander, captain, or admiral and join the channel. And then you come to our lives and you got some cool stuff as a part of that joining the channel. So there you go.
And of course, Patreon the classic way if you can, or a one-time donation at trekyards.com if you can, or just like you said, like, subscribe, join. All the free ways, because they all do mount up and make a difference.
That's right. So until next time, when we have another conspiracy theory, I'm Captain Foley.
And I'm Connor Clemens. Bye, guys.